DJ, put a nigga back to the record, baby, and give me this right now.
What's going on, everybody? It is Legendary LaShawn here, and I'm coming back at you with another video. Sorry I've been gone for so long, but a lot of times I don't really like to make a video if I really don't have much of anything to say. But recently, while watching everybody commentating on what they want to see in Street Fighter 6 and the new type of mechanics that they may be speculating about and stuff like that, just from the little teaser. And if you don't know, there was a teaser that came out for Street Fighter 6, so go check that out. I'll try to put it in the description if I can. But it recently came to me what I wanted to talk about as far as the game, right? And as far as what I wanted to see in Street Fighter 6, the thing that's really important, aside from, of course, you know, you definitely want to have a polished game with the arcade, with functioning online, with fully functioning online and offline content. You know, you want to have good characters, you know, you want to have the game look good, of course. But something that's really important for me to stick with it long term, with something which is part of the reason why even now I still play a little bit of Street Fighter 4, is freedom. Freedom seems to be a really big issue in this game. And I'm not talking about like freedom in the terms of like who you can play and stuff like that, but the freedom to play the character that you want to. Core A Gaming had a really good video on this. I'll try to link that in the description as well, to check it out. It's really good on kind of like the skill gap and reducing the skill gap and how it really can take away from the fun of a game. But I got Luke right here, and I'm gonna show you what I mean by freedom, right? So Luke has this mechanic with this move. What is it called again? I don't even remember what this thing is called. What is it called? Flash Knuckle. So he has a move called Flash Knuckle, and if you charge it, you get different levels and different types of variants, right? So with his medium, he can bounce people off the wall, right? Which is pretty dope. So that's how it looks, right? Now, I can get a follow-up after this, right? I can get an EX into that, so let's do that. And then I can get a Shoryuken motion. That's pretty dope, right? So now the thing is, he has a light version, a light Flash Knuckle, where he pops you up into the air. And if you look at the medium, the person's coming straight up to you, and it's not like he's super duper high up, right? But the light version bounces you pretty far up. So by that logic, I should be able to connect that EX, right? Okay, wasn't able to get it there. Let's try it again. No, I just can't get it. And so you may be saying that, okay, well, I guess light just isn't a path to be able to follow up that EX. But that's not true. I have V-Trigger 2 on right here, and let me show you what you can do with V-Trigger 2. So I'm starting off with a heavy punch. Dang it. Hold on. Couldn't get it. Wow. Okay, having some trouble. Man, I am having some trouble here. Hold on. There we go. So, now, from canceling, so V-Trigger 2 allows you to cancel the Flash Knuckles into each other, right? So now I can get that light punch, right? So now I should also be able to get that medium punch. So let's try that. Oh, okay. Maybe I did something wrong. Let's try it again. No. So now, for whatever reason, they decided to switch it up and to have it on there. To have it to have it where you can only do the follow-up with EX with the light version only if you're in V-Trigger 2, and you have to cancel out of the medium. You can't just do it raw. And then on top of that, you also, if you do the light, the level 2 light Flash Knuckle and cancel that into the medium, you can't follow up with EX anymore, right? So like, you may be asking yourself, well, why would they do that? Why would they make it so strict? And the only reason why I could think of why they would do that is because they want the character to be played in a certain way. And I'm pretty sure that that's what it is. Because here's the thing. So many of the characters from Street Fighter 4 that carried over into this game, except for maybe a few of them, had so much taken away from them, also that they can fit into a certain mold, also that the character can only be played one way, right? And the way that they try to offer diversity is by way of the V triggers and the V skills, right? Which in itself isn't necessarily a bad thing, but when you don't have V trigger, that means that you're only playing one way, that you don't really have a choice to do too much else. In Street Fighter, there were so many tools that the characters had to be able to get around certain situations that you just had. Like, if you was really good with your character, you would have a hard time. But there were certain things that you can learn about the matchup to be able to get around it, right? And even for casual people, the thing with it is that with casual people want to be able to do some pretty cool stuff in a way that is the least complex. And with Street Fighter V, it just feels like they want to lump everybody into just one specific mold. And that doesn't do much, because then that means there's only but so much that you can learn with the character. Now, with the recent characters that have come out, characters like Seth, characters like Gil, characters like Oro, like people like Brian F and all of those people who've been working on those stun combos and on those Tengu Stone combos, it's been amazing, right? One thing that I always loved about Alpha 3 was a different ism. So there was 3 isms, right? There was one ism that just gave you a super powerful, like, Street Fighter 2 super move, right? And then there was another ism that gave you different levels of a super move so that you can vary the damage. Then there was this other ism where you could create your own custom combo. So what would happen was you kind of have like all these shadow versions of yourself that would follow up with the same attack that you did. So you could create a custom combo. To me, if I did want to talk about what mechanic I would want to see, custom combos would be it. The isms would be it. A lot of times I don't really hear too many people talk about Street Fighter Alpha like all that much. Like, well, at least, you know what, no, they don't talk about Street Fighter Alpha 3 all that much. Street Fighter Alpha 3 is my favorite. Alpha 2 was cool and the alpha counters were great, but I really loved that last ism where you could create your own custom combo. Because especially with Cody, before they took away his criminal upper, you could just keep on doing that and doing ruffian kicks. Like, it was so dope and so amazing to be able to create your own custom combo, right? And that is an amazing thing to give casual fans, right? Because of course, a lot of times to get, like, you know, really high damaging stuff, like, you know, you need a certain level of execution to be able to, you know, get certain stuff, right? To get certain combos. But when you activate a custom combo mode, or if you want to like go back to, you know, having it be an ism, well then at that point you can press whatever buttons you want and do something that looks dope, and you can just do essentially whatever it is that you want if you catch that person with the right button, or, you know, if you can get a button into it. So in my opinion, and of course, like I said, it doesn't have to be the ism system specifically, but just something to be able to give the characters freedom. Even in Street Fighter 4, even though it didn't have the isms, characters had so many tools to be able to get around things, right? Like when you looked at I don't know, when you looked at like a Bonchan, or I don't know, like if you looked at two Ken players in Street Fighter 4, right, you were able to tell the difference between the two of them, because maybe one would use medium kick, forward medium kick a little bit more, and maybe another one would just use fireballs and kind of zone people out, right? And if you saw like two different Codys, they had different styles. If you saw two different Zangiefs or Hugos or whatever else, they would have two different styles, right? Street Fighter 4 had the focus mechanic, and a lot of people weren't the biggest fans of focus. I really liked it, especially with the addition of the FADC system, because it allowed you to cancel out of you know, your special move and stuff like that. And let me just show you some of the awesome stuff that you could do with my main man Cody.
You ready to start fighting for real? Jackpot!
Wait, you, wait, you!
Boring the crap out of me.
So those were very few things. Like, those were just some little things that you could do with Cody. And let me be perfectly honest and clear. Those are not the craziest combos. Those are not the most damaging combos, right? But that is just some, I would say, kind of mid-level stuff. Like, FADCing is not a easy concept for, like, you know, of course, casual people. But it's a choice, right? It's another choice that you have. And it's not the only choice. If you just want to get in some damage, you can do a Heavy Punch. Heavy Punch is a very good tool that goes into a lot of stuff in Street Fighter 4. And so my basic point is that you have to allow players the ability to feel free to express themselves, to be different. For two people to play the same character and feel like it's two separate people. You shouldn't have a mirror match where both people have to do the exact same thing, play the exact same game, right? If there was two Codys, there might be one that's using Zonk Knuckle a little bit more. There's one that might be really rushed down. There's one that might be a little bit more defensive with the using those getting around those frame traps with the Zonk Knuckle, right? And so I think that's something that Capcom really needs to take into account, because I think that they were really misguided in thinking that the problem with Street Fighter 4 was the one frame links. And of course, people are going to complain about that, but just because somebody complains doesn't mean that you always have to, you know, just listen to what people who are not experienced with the game are telling you, right? Maybe when it comes to Street Fighter, you know, when people are playing online, maybe they need to take a book out of Guilty Gear's page and really look at how they structured their online, their online infrastructure, right? Where in Guilty Gear, they literally assess where you are with, like, I think it's like a bot match, or like with a really simple match when you first get online, where they just assess where you are. They stick you in where your approximate level is, and then you have to work your way up from there, right? But if you're a casual person and you want to stay playing with casuals, then you can do that. Like, there's different levels, and of course, and in Street Fighter there's levels, but the problem is with people playing, or, you know, people just create their Smurf accounts where they just start from the bottom, right? But what Guilty Gear does so well is because they test you to see where you're at first. And I think that that's something that is really important in making the casuals feel welcome, making them feel understood, making them feel like they have options, right? And so I think that with Street Fighter 6, that's what it should be based upon. Maybe a cool thing for Street Fighter 6 would be having different mechanics in the game, being able to choose your mechanics. Now, I would admit that would be a nightmare to balance. But imagine in Street Fighter 6 if you had to choose between a V-trigger, a focus attack, or maybe like an ism, right? Where you can have different things, you have different ways to play the game. But I think that where they need to start out first is just with the character. Allow the characters to have multiple options to deal with multiple matchups, right? Ryu versus Dhalsim was a horrible, horrible matchup in Street Fighter 4, right? Horribly in Dhalsim's favor. But when Daigo played Dhalsim, he had such knowledge of his character and what the character could do to deal with that matchup that Daigo was a force to be reckoned with, right? He would Shoryuken those limbs. He would, you know, get the light Shoryuken and FADC into Ultra. You know what I'm saying? And so that's my personal take on what Capcom needs to do for Street Fighter 6. Tell me what you guys think. Tell me, are you guys even excited for Street Fighter 6? Are you guys going to be looking forward to it? Are you guys going to, you know, excited for the new news that we're going to be getting in the summertime? Let me know in the comments below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching, and I will see y'all later. Peace.